The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the New Media Factory. Some programs on this network might include strong images and language and may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
So I don't know who that voice is, but I guess it's Tirso.
It's what?
Tirso of Razorback. That's such a low voice and then some computer effects or something. But I guess we're live now, so...
I thought it was you just trying to play voice.
I drink occasionally a lot, but not that much.
Alright.
So
I don't believe you.
Welcome to the BobberyCast.
Thank you so much.
Think I don't drink too much, never more than one at a time. So yeah, we're live. Welcome to the BobberyCast with Peter Canton. This time we're here again at Beyond the Box, where they still haven't kicked us out. So I guess
thank you for not kicking us out.
Awesome, and thanks to the guys at New Media Factory, nmfnetwork.tv.
So you guys are from New Media Factory. Oh, yeah. Hi.
And I don't think the people who listen or watch us, they see that there are people in the background. They only see number 6 over there.
Yeah.
But welcome all.
Yeah, there are 5 people background. Thank you so much, guys.
Peter.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Franky. It's awesome to be
Mind
here.
introducing yourself to those who don't know you?
Okay, my name is Peter Canton. I'm an entrepreneur. I also started the Juan Great Leap blog, which has really took on a life on its own. And now we're doing a couple of startup events. There you go. Basically, it's me in a nutshell.
How did your group community, Juan Great Leap, grow? Because every time I think of it, I think you've been reading Seth Godin, and I personally
I have actually. No,
you're a tribe builder.
Really?
Yeah,
that's cool. No, because I've read Tribes.
That's a
cool
compliment
book.
for those who don't know, who haven't read Seth Godin. That's
I love him because he's bald. He has a nice hairstyle.
Did you copy his hairstyle?
Not by choice.
Okay.
By heredity. The blog started in November 2011. I'm really the accidental entrepreneur. When I started my startup in 2005, I did it part-time, and it was struggling. And it was struggling primarily because I was doing it part-time. And here we have Jay. Hi, Jay.
Yep, so Jay for once managed to come on the show, and he's walking in right live now.
Just walk through here?
Yeah, sure, come and sit down, break out the beers.
Stay in the middle.
In the middle, like in between 2 chairs.
Okay.
So that will be
Hello,
weird
guys.
because it'll be like tennis. I'll be...
No, we're nice guys.
Hey, Jay, how are you?
We're not out to pick out a fight or anything. Not with you,
With others.
maybe.
I made it.
Yeah, good.
What time?
It's a privilege.
No.
Because I
sorry,
hear you
guys.
only are in a couple of shows. So
Well, what I'm not allowed to say live on the show is that Jay always forgets about the show and then like, oops, I can't come. Can you send me an ICAL invite?
That's why.
that's how you get it. Well, anyway, so I was. Where do I start? So I started my startup in 2005. It was Storm. It was a flexible benefits play, and it was after 2 years. It was struggling, primarily because I was doing it part time. I was pouring hours, like 3 or 4 hours a day on it, but it wasn't enough. And in 2008, I reached a point where I had to go full time in that startup or it would die. So that was what I was wrangling with. But at the same time, we all know what happened in 2008. That was the recession.
Yeah.
And we were doing an HR startup. And the first budget which really gets cut when you're in a recession is the HR budget, right? Mm-hmm. So no budget for training. So it was a very tough decision. I had my firstborn that year. I was facing an 85% pay cut if I took the leap. It wasn't a very popular decision with some members of my family. But through prayer, really, and then I'm very, very open with this, it was really through prayer that got me through that decision, because logically, I should have stayed. I mean, my family was at stake. But I did that leap, and then that turned out really to be the most, by far, the best career decision that I've ever done. And I was so thankful about that particular leap that 2-3 years after, when Storm was becoming stable and I founded like one or two other startups, there was this feeling like what we were describing earlier, that they had to pay it forward. And when I was doing my startup, there was nothing online, there were no resources, the Bobbery wasn't there yet, and I couldn't wait for it. And I was thinking, might be good to blog and just talk about my experiences. And I was so afraid because putting your stuff, your thoughts out there, that's also a risk, right? So I was writing the first blog post, but it took me really a month before I really just posted it. I was so afraid of what people might say. But in my mind, I figured, if there are only one or two people who would read and appreciate what I wrote, it would be a good thing. So I pushed publish, and then I posted the first post, and after that it was easier to publish. And pretty soon, I was getting a good amount of hits online, and pretty soon the guys who were online wanted to meet. So we did our first meetup in Astoria. There were around 30 or 40 entrepreneurs at that time. And then now really it's like I said earlier, it snowballed into something that was completely unexpected for me. And I think it's a privilege to be able to talk about startups and try to convince people that it's a worthwhile alternative. The message that I really want to communicate in the blog is, you don't really need to, when guys graduate now, it's automatic. They go corporate. They're fed to the job fairs. Do your resume.
We're going to disrupt.
There are no
that
startups in the
also.
job fairs. And when you talk to people in corporate, they were like me when I was starting. I was completely, or you have a lot of people who are really uninspired about what they do in corporate, feel that they're forced. Of course, they're good corporations, right? But there are a lot of people, I think, who just compromise. So that's the message, that hey, you can really follow your dream, and nowadays, with technology, with mentors like you guys, you can actually do it. And I think the message resonates with a lot of people, and then I'm grateful that I'm able to help in my own little way.
You have done quite a lot of meetups already in recent times. You have your regular coffee events.
Yes, that's fun. You guys should go.
Yeah.
You
What's
guys
the next
should go.
one?
The next one, we're planning one on March 23, I think, Saturday. We usually do it Saturday morning. The concept is open coffee. So it's been well attended. Around 30-40 entrepreneurs, both new and experienced entrepreneurs go. And the concept is, you each have 2 minutes to give your pitch to the group. Whatever that pitch is. If it's a startup idea, you need advice, you need a partner, you need help, whatever it is, 2 minutes. It's timed and it's strict. And after 2 minutes, you elicit reactions from the audience. So it's become a very good learning experience, I think, for a lot of people. And of course, when you get people who think alike, you get entrepreneurs in the room, there's always a lot of energy, right? You guys would know this very, very, I'm sure. So there's a lot of energy and a lot of asking. So it's been fun. It's been fun hosting that. So we're doing the next one on March 23.
March 23.
Nice.
We still don't have a venue, but hopefully it'll be in another coffee shop. So we stay true to the name, right? We can't have open coffee and like hold it in the bar. So
It's too early for that. Also.
well, maybe not for you. It might be.
No,
Might have stayed the night before.
8 a.m.
Not before 6 p.m.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm getting old, mate. Like,
I know, like me.
and then end last year, was it October or November? You had a big event, and now this Saturday again.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Saturday, this one, right?
Yeah. So last year we held our first big event, a conference. We held it at the Ayala Tech Hub. There were around 200 people who came. We had a panel discussing. We had a panel of entrepreneurs. We just talked about entrepreneurship. So we decided to do a bigger play this year. The concept we thought about was like speed dating, right? We wanted people to be able to reach entrepreneurs in a very intimate manner, like this, like we're just talking. But it's very difficult to do it in a conference setup where you have 2-3 speakers and the audience.
Yeah.
So we're thinking, how do you now do it in small groups, but still impact a larger number of people? So we thought, why not speed dating, but for groups? So on Saturday, what will happen is we invited 20 awesome startup founders of different industries. We have people from social, from IT, from retail, from fashion, etc. We have people from the different stages of the startup process. We have people who've made it, people who are still there in the trenches. And they'll each have their own nook and around 10 or 15 chairs. So when the bell rings, you get to talk to them and ask questions.
Right.
So it's very close, so it's very intimate. You can ask whatever. You can touch the entrepreneur. You can punch the entrepreneur or whatever. No, that's the whole idea to get close to
Biggest brains.
Exactly. No. After 15-20 minutes, the bell rings, and you can talk to the next entrepreneur, and this will go on for a couple of rounds. So you can really. If I were if I were going Saturday, I'd pick out people I'd want to talk to.
I make a plan with it.
I'd make a plan because there are only 5 or 6 rounds, and then set up my questions and ask away during Saturday. So we hope it's a logistical nightmare. So my partner
Chaos.
Matt and I are racking our brains as to how to really do it seamlessly. I'm sure it'll be chaotic.
Yeah, which is good.
Which is good, right?
It's always good.
It's closer to real
Yeah,
life.
adrenaline is high.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
After the speed dating, what happens?
So there'll be
Is there
a
like a
informal
mixer?
mixer.
I saw the schedule, Jay. The speed dating. The mixer starts at 5:30, so that's too early for you.
In the afternoon, okay.
So we're pretty excited with that one. And I think the people who are participating are also pretty excited to.
You get 20 startup founders. As you said, I looked at the list. There are some people who have not launched yet. Some already have. Are idols or models in the scene. One of the cool things different to the Bobbery is Storm, Juan Great Leap, focuses on every niche. You're really there, like, and where the Bobbery is and
More tech.
CrowdCloud, we are tech, mainly internet startups. Not that like we covered on the Bobbery Solar Pocket Factory, the guys who were on Kickstart. If we see something cool,
Right.
we cover it, of
Right.
course. We want to highlight, but mainly internet.
Yeah.
You, pretty much anyone can come to you and ask for advice.
Pretty much, yes. So it cuts across different industries. So if you want to do a bake shop in the corner, it could be you could get
And you've
something
got
from
the
the
best,
event.
the most delicious pandesal. No?
Yes, and maybe.
Miraculous pandesal. Yeah.
But there are a lot of anyway, don't get me started. But or if you want to do a big IT firm which scales, you can also get something from. And I think the interplay between the different industries is very interesting. Like I think there are a lot of industries that can learn a lot from the tech startups, like how to implement lean startup methodology. Let's say in agriculture or media, or so there's and vice versa. I'm sure that there are a lot of interesting things also that people in other industries can learn from the other industries. So it's very good energy actually, and very good discussions. And that's the interesting thing. I think technology can cut across the different industries. So the one of the more compelling opportunities is to spot where technology can help which particular industry. How can technology help agriculture? How can the new mobile whatever technology disrupt agriculture, disrupt not just the sexier geo-social play, but the how technology can solve problems, real problems right now in distribution, in the different value chains of different industries would be very, very interesting.
It's cool. It's cool you mentioned that as well, because last year we have seen hackathons going in that sector. We had
Mhm.
the social hackathon, Erie hackathon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So
That's
there,
cool.
and then like the people at Colab who are sponsor of your event,
Yes.
they also are very close with the homegrown people and social entrepreneurship. So
Right.
there is more and more convergence coming.
Yes.
And I also like that you say like the other way around, because a question I recently ask and regularly ask technopreneurs is like, but don't you fear like more and more the students realize, come from university, especially CS students, and think like now we can build it.
Yeah.
And then we've built it, but sorry guys, it's not 2005 anymore. You need to go out there, you need to take it to the market. And
Right.
more and more in startup scene, we are seeing that people realize like, I need a biz guy, or you have biz guys who say, I need a tech guy.
Yeah.
Right.
So like, there is more convergence coming. Technology is a tool.
Yeah.
It's often forgotten that it's an asset which you can use, which can make it easier. It's not the ultimate solution. So the markets are merging more and more, which is a great thing to see. And also for back then, once nerds, now nerd is like,
Yeah.
it's part of society.
Right.
The guy sitting next to you in those fashion clothes may be the biggest nerd in the country.
Right.
So that's great, and I like how you, with your large focus and with Storm, because you kind of started also, quote unquote, a known accelerator slash incubator in your office, in the building where you are in. We had recently Gino here as guest.
From Stream. Yeah.
You have done things there as well.
Yeah,
in
we
the
have.
way of Juan Great Leap, Peter Canton, Storm Consulting. What many people don't know is you kickstart businesses.
That's true. It's more organic in a sense that you can't really apply. But what I try to do is to get ideas and people together, the right ideas with the right people, and that's really very tough, right?
Yeah.
But when I see a match between the idea and the person, organically I try to tell them, hey, maybe we can start a business, and I can help here and here. Maybe you can do this, you can do that. It's very organic, and that's how some of these. It's how all of the companies that I'm associated with actually have started.
Wait, you don't do funding, although I think depending on what you could matchmake where needed.
We're
But basically you really get the people together and convince them to come on guys, do it.
I think the difference is we try to do the business immediately. So of course there are not all of the ideas would be applicable. Some ideas really need funding from the start. But we try to go after ideas that could be done now, and we try to get some traction going. And then after a year, 2 years maybe, that's when we go for funding if needed. But as much as possible, we want to be able to bootstrap as long as we can. But sometimes to get to the next level, obviously you need funding. We have 2 companies now which were recently funded. So it really depends on the idea and maybe the people running. But it's been an interesting.
It's cool you mentioned like bootstrapping, like Stream Engine Studios, one of the best. That's a line of Minette of Kickstart. She loves the line. One of the best investments or ways of funding is clients paying.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best way. That's the best way, I think.
And it also helps finding an investor
Yeah.
if you have a revenue stream already.
And I'm the negotiation, what happens on the nego table, pre-traction and post-traction is just night and day.
Yeah.
Because when we tried to get funding from Storm when we started, closed doors, investors saying, hey, I want 90% of your firm because I'm the one being exposed.
Yeah.
Which is like, huh? No way. You know? So we tried it out ourselves, and then after 5-6 years, we had very, very good traction. We had a lot of logos, and then it was much easier, and we could really pick the investor we wanted to work with. So it's a night and day difference. So that's really, if you can help it, if the idea lends itself well to it, bootstrapping I think really is the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it
I
helps
agree,
on
totally.
a lot of levels.
You guys also do a lot of bootstrapping with Days of Thunder and Proud
Yeah,
Cloud,
yeah.
which are all, I don't know, Days of Thunder I compare to 80/20 at Google.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
then
we
if
try
it
to-
picks up, you consider taking it to the next level. Would you get funding for it or not?
Yeah, we don't know if it gets funding, if it takes off. The key thing is to just build it because it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Throw it out there, see how it if it sticks, then it sticks
Yeah.
on the wall, right? And then if there's an opportunity to spin off, then spin it off.
Yeah.
But it's amazing that you're able to pull the 80/20. We tried it before,
well,
but
it's more
the
like
thing is like when the client needs something, sorry.
Well,
Uh,
it
But
happens.
it's really,
Definitely.
you really
because,
need a lot of
the-
discipline.
Of course, the client will definitely say, we need something done
Right.
by this much. Although we try as hard as we can to let them know that this time
Yeah.
we're actually building stuff.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
it's
it's
good
more
for you guys.
60/40
Yeah,
even
it's
at
60/40,
yours.
yeah.
Ah, really? That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Well, yeah. Then hopefully
It takes a lot of
uh,
discipline.
Yeah, so that if clients eat into the time, then it becomes 70/30, 80/20.
You play by
But so,
ear.
Yeah.
so basically for you guys, it's unless your D-base is crashing, the site doesn't load. Like, guys, please do not disturb us. We told you that it's part of our
Oh
DNA.
no! Somebody breaks away. At least somebody that's part of the project team, and then address that issue.
Okay. But the team Proud Cloud continues.
Oh yeah. Or whoever's working on a specific project right now.
That is where I think, especially with the large gamut of hackathons and everything, we now have to get the developers.
Right.
Like, not just go to a hackathon on Monday, ditch the concept and already prepare for the next hackathon for
Oh,
next
that's true.
weekend.
That's true.
Miss out on one, just finish that project. Like, you know, I'm a big fan of Tag Huddle. Nico
Yeah.
built that, and sorry, can I mentioned it last week? And finally finalize beer spots.
Right.
Just do it for the experience you get once it's out there. And then if it picks up, hey, it may be a business you never saw.
Right.
Just do it. And that is what you do. You find people, you push them to make it happen.
Yeah. But finding people who will actually take leaps and go full time, that's challenging. And then
Yeah.
finding the right people who are entrepreneurial, that's really challenging. I think now the great challenge is to get more people to leap. Because now we go to the startup events, we see the same people.
Yeah.
Like there are 300, 400 maybe startup community. And that's very, very good, right? Very, very good. Just a year and a half ago, that wasn't there. But you think maybe there
more.
could be more.
Yeah. There's more.
I think that's it's a challenge because there's a bottleneck now. With
right now we
so
have
many ideas and not enough people to implement.
Right now we have that bottleneck, but slowly but surely universities are actually noticing the
Yeah.
scene, inviting us. You have been talking at universities, you recently did, they are noticing us. I actually hope that in 3 to 4 years we will be 2,500 strong.
Yeah,
No, I hope so.
should.
And then of course, we always think it's Manila, but there's a scene in Davao, there's
Yeah,
a
that's
scene
true.
in Cebu.
That's true.
There's scenes elsewhere
That's
as
true.
well, which
We've gotten calls from people in Pampanga, in Bohol, who want to start a One Great Leap in Bohol. That's amazing. It's amazing what happens when you build something like the Bobbery and then you get the word out and people just respond. It's amazing, very humbling
Yeah.
to get these emails.
because I think with the Bobbery, slowly but surely I'm discovering more things. Also occasionally, I'm not like TechCrunch or the Next Web or Mashable, my inbox is not constantly startups
Important.
hustling, but in recent months we have discovered more already.
Yeah.
And we see more and more projects reaching or nearing at least beta already.
Right.
But after that, we don't know. But I think Jay, recently we compiled a list. We had that we know around 90 or 100
Yeah, anything
projects.
that's more.
And that is only what we know.
We know.
So
Yeah, and
it
then
would
you can count
definitely
more.
be like 250. Because not everyone reaches out to us.
Yeah.
So like,
Some are very
and
low key.
Mhm.
the people are coming out
Some
there
are
at
even
the
under the
moment.
radar or not in the community.
Some even
Yeah.
don't want to put their names out
yeah,
there
yeah.
at all.
So there is action. It's a great thing because, as I told you before, I launched the Bobbery. I arrived here, and my first reflex: where is the local startup site? Oh, there is none. 2 months later, where is the local startup scene? What scene? And like now we're 2 years further, like it has totally changed.
Yeah.
But once you're in the scene, you see that bottleneck, you see that issue. Of course, you could say we're the next Silicon Valley. Like, no, we're not, because we have that bottleneck. More and more people are coming, but it's still the usual suspects.
Yeah. That's right. So we
And of course, like the response to Startups Unplugged has been brilliant. Like I think you mentioned you had
250, right? 200, 300?
they're around, I think, close to 300 now. Confirmed.
300 already who are attending on Saturdays.
But you know, some might flake. So hopefully, please, if you signed up for tickets, don't flake.
And if you do cancel, then it becomes available
Yeah,
again
it
for
does,
the
it
waiting list.
It does. So please do so if you find out that you can't make it.
But that's a great response already. And I think the scene is slowly but surely, people are coming out. We have seen new projects. This week we discovered by accident online startups, and they are exciting. A lot is happening.
Yeah, there are a lot of things happening. So it's pretty cool. I remember when I first started writing, I wrote this blog post called An Open Letter to Schools and Universities. And I was just ranting on the lack of startup support.
Yeah.
You have nothing. You Google startups in Indonesia, startups in Singapore, you find a lot of things. But here in the Philippines, there's nothing. And then like the week after, the first startup weekend happened. And the week after that, and then a couple of weeks after, Kickstart and Idea Space came out at the same time, of course. And then there's so many things.
It's local telcos. Trust
In-
them
in-
to
in-
follow.
In 1 year, we've made so much progress, and it's pretty exciting.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty exciting. And then
I think it's just a confluence of events, really.
Yeah.
Even if it was varied groups or people that were actually doing something to go towards the same direction. Just so happens that everybody was starting at the same time.
right.
I think that's key. You came in town, you know, you started organizing startup weekend.
And Startup Weekend, the fourth one in Manila has been announced.
Yeah.
Weekend of April 26.
Oh, cool.
April 26th, that's right.
So if you've got an idea, you want to find people, you want to experience the buzz you mentioned before, there is at a Startup Weekend. Mark down the date, April 26 to April 28, Mint College again.
Yeah. I'm almost sure already.
Yeah.
99.9% sure.
Okay, so
We've
that's
always
a-
had it in Mint, the ones in Manila.
All of the Manila
of
ones
them.
have been at Mint. They've been our partners already, organizing partners.
So you mentioned universities, schools. How
Yeah.
can we disrupt that?
You know what I think?
Recently
What's your-
we went to
what's
an
your
event
insight?
and
Here's my thing. You were mentioning earlier, Frankie, that there needs to be more convergence. I think there's no convergence in schools. For example, when management students are asked to do their simulation business, right? Almost every management major has that, put up a business. 99% of them would do a food stall, clothing stall. No one would do an internet startup, or just a very small minority. Why? Because they're not allowed to partner with someone from computer science, and then maybe someone from communications and design. I think there should be a confluence of these departments.
So,
So
how do we get those people to, for example, Startup Weekend?
How to get them to attend?
Yeah, because that would be a
The
great
venue,
start
right?
where they can converge.
Well, you mentioned Mint because Mint actually is designed to make that happen.
Yeah.
That kind of environment.
Yeah.
Right. You've got it's multi-discipline, the exposure and
Yeah,
training.
exactly.
So you've got all the facilities, which is great. But it's hard to expect that from the traditional universities and colleges.
Yeah.
What Mint is actually doing is that they're trying to push the limits of what they can actually do within the education department framework. Okay, so they're
Pushing
whatever
the
they
limits,
can,
yeah.
whatever they can do to get it, what
Trying to
they can get away
disrupt
with.
it.
Universities like UP, we visited them. They're too big.
Yeah.
I mean, so how do you do that?
Well, like recently we were at UP, and basically we were lullabied.
Mhm.
First of
You
all,
were what?
we accidentally almost gate crashed the course, and that was like BlackBerry 6 in 2013. Like then afterwards, we walked in. There was this guy of Accenture teaching a totally outdated model, like, well, welcome to '98, woohoo! But I also get somehow, like for example, UP, everyone knows it's an ambitious university, but they don't have money. So
Yeah, it's
basically
funny.
you guys, you and Christian, it was brilliant to see Christian Bessler, that is, sit under a sign of Accenture.
Yeah.
Because Accenture sponsored an auditorium.
Right.
But like those companies, they have interest to be there. For them, like,
They hire.
Yeah.
for them,
They're
we're the
clients.
devil. We're the devil almost. We are out there and like startups.
I think that,
Agile will disrupt them.
I think the young guys need more heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's amazing you say that we have successes. Eric Gariblas, here, Mr. Airborne. Eric Gariblas, 5 million downloads on the Apple App Store alone. And like, I hijacked a panel because those people, but the students, I can't blame them, it was Accenture, like 45 minutes, Microsoft death by PowerPoint, like, but they were there,
they're
like,
kids,
you have
they're
those
students.
models, and
They still have parents. They still have parents that will freak out if
Yeah,
they say,
they-
"Why
hey,
are
mom,
you
I
dropping
wanna
out
do
to start a startup?"
Yeah, but
maybe that's where funding will.
it's like you said, you still live at your parents, you
Yeah.
can now afford for 2 years to work at
Exactly.
something.
Exactly.
It's not like in your case you had a kid, you had when
Yeah.
you sold, when you started, there are not those responsibilities.
Right.
Yeah, you gotta start it young.
If we
That's right.
nowadays, if we say like, we're going to bootstrap totally from zero, it means like, yeah, but you still have to pay the rent, the car, the mortgage, whatever. You have responsibilities. So like, how can we, like, I'm not out to, yeah, of course, I'm out to disrupt that scene, like,
Well, if it becomes a mission, then it's a mission. If you identify that as your target, okay, the university space and all that, then you have to actively strategize or think about ways to disrupt it.
yeah.
Or we can do what we've been doing, which is being noisy, doing our own thing.
Yeah, and
you know,
hoping that they
doing,
come.
open coffee, doing Startups Unplugged, and Roof Camp and Bobbery, just doing our thing, hoping that takes a life of its own and spreads
Yeah.
and gains some kind of momentum. But if you really want to identify it as a cause,
There needs to be a
then
Well, for
different
me,
strategy. But the events you mentioned, when you ask around how many are from colleges,
a very small,
small
very
percentage.
Yeah.
So I think there still needs to be, we could do more as far
Mhm.
as marketing to the college kids,
Right.
university kids.
for me, it's not really a mission, but it's also like I told those students when we were there, like, I've not been more than 2 years on payroll in 20 years. So like, you do not have to go corporate. There are ways, and there are.
But they don't know that, Frankie.
But that's what we have
They
to
don't know
tell
that.
them.
They don't know that. Fourth year, they're herded off, make your resume.
And Accenture is there.
And then
you are good
Accenture's
with
there,
BlackBerry.
you have-
Resume writing class.
Exactly. And then here you go, you're herded off in job fairs. So it's very, very difficult to get rid of that notion. And who teaches them? In who teaches marketing? Who teaches the corporate guys teach it.
Yeah.
So again, less heroes. You Jay need to teach. Yeah. We gotta have more representatives in the university.
That's
Well,
hard to do.
I,
That's hard.
when I was in the UK, in northern of Manchester, I used to guest lecture about
Guest lecturing, yes.
guest lecturing. Like I think guest lecturers need to be asked because basically what I experienced was I guest lectured to CS students about the upcoming impact of social media, and it
Yeah.
was basically like I told those guys, you need to run a blog, you need to. Stack Overflow wasn't out there, GitHub wasn't that popular, so you share those bits of code on your blog and the companies will discover you thanks to Google and everything. Like that will be shared. And at some point I then was offered the gig to lecture,
Yeah.
which I didn't take because I saw how the universities worked. And I understand that. Like you cannot constantly change your program
Right.
because like they would say like what are you going to teach tomorrow, we don't know, so you need approval for that on a semester base. And then basically we got a deal that I would guest lecture, and the cool thing is it are guest lectures or lecturers who keep your program bleeding edge, because it's just the professor who invites the person because of their qualities, their topics and whatever. And because they cannot fit it in an agile way into their course.
Right.
And I think a good docent, a good professor invites guest lecturers who in a specific area are smarter than that professor. Which is also like big jump to take. Like there's that cliff and you say like, hey, this guy is smarter, knows better what he's talking about, so it's an ego thing as well. But guest lectures, like, yeah, I think that is for us a first way to get into it.
You know what a good idea would be? You know how they do it in South by Southwest? You've got the conference proper,
Right.
okay, which is the expensive,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
the badges. But the action happens outside.
In the bars.
The bars, you know, the coffee shops, you actually have
Mixers.
ad hoc mixers, ad hoc lectures, ad hoc talks. Maybe that's
It's
the trick.
it's
Do
always
it around the university, do it around the SAL, do it around the UP, do
Yeah.
it around the Katipunan area,
That's actually
right?
maybe
And
a
invite
good idea.
It's always at South by Southwest that new webs are launched, which basically allow you to track who is where.
Right, right.
To see what is the hotspot today, where do I need to be to find cool people. Because F. Williams of Twitter will talk during the conference, Gruber will talk, but like 3 hours later they're in the middle of a bar.
Right.
And like Startups Unplugged, you can just ask them questions, people whom you would never have access to
Right.
otherwise. So your tips for young people, for young wannabe entrepreneurs,
Out of the
which is part of the Facebook
I think
group
you just
as
gotta
well.
try it. You gotta be able to try it because there's, as you mentioned, the risks are a lot less. When I did my leap, I had a kid, I had bills to pay, etc. My only regret doing that leap was that I should have done it earlier. And then maybe it would be a bit bigger now. So you gotta be, as a young person, if you have an idea, there's no risk. There's none, because you can just go back to corporate anytime. And if you're good, if you have talent, you'd probably even get a raise because you left your current your current corporation and then moved to another. There is little risk. So I think this is where funding can make a difference, because I see a lot of potentially great entrepreneurs at the 28 to 32 age, where people are beginning really to get to know themselves as a person, know what they want in life. This is when I think a lot of Filipinos mature.
Yeah.
Because fresh off college, it's not like in the States or in other countries when you graduate college, you're already very independent.
Right.
Here, I think it takes a couple of years. But at 28, 32, and then at 28, 32, you probably already have an expertise. and you know real problems that you know need solving. Those guys are you have a ton of them here, are quite talented. I think we need more of those guys to take the leap. But what will take them to take the leap is, hey, I gotta have some salary.
Right.
I can't go like ramen every day for this. I want to get married, etc. That's where I think funding can disrupt things.
Right.
See, like in the first world, very often if you come out of university,
You're good to go.
no, you actually have $25,000
In debt.
in debt
Yeah.
because of your student loan you took out,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
the pressure is actually
Wow,
there.
Don't get me started on MBAs.
But you know the it's not just the startup or starting a startup option.
Right.
That's not the only option available. That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say. It's actually working for a startup.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
right?
right.
Okay, so if you don't have an idea,
It's the next
but you're-
best thing.
but you're-
It's the next best thing.
you've got this startup mindset,
Yeah.
you're craving to work at a startup, then work for
For
a
a
startup.
start.
I think that's what happened to me. I was working for Chica
Mhm.
for 5 years, and it was then that I started my startup, and then I got to see how different really Chica was versus some of the other corporations that I worked for, and the differences were great. You know, like see how people moved, how fast things were.
Mhm.
That was a great experience for me. I think that's the next best thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Work for a startup.
Work for a startup.
And then
And
start
then
your own
startups.
later, right?
Exactly.
You also have your background in HR.
Yes, yes.
And you just mentioned, like, you know, like, you can always go back to corporate
I can.
life. As a maybe even with a raise. I think also, like, as an HR person, can
And
you
were just
no,
you
like
had a story about
I have a
you
story
and your
about
HR. Anyway.
I don't have a
Yeah.
hidden. I don't have a hidden agenda. When I run the company, I was HR. You want a raise? Cool. Work 2 hours more. I'll pay you for overtime. No, joking aside. Like also what you said is like you can go back and like on the way, even if you fail,
Yeah, exactly.
you gain valuable experience.
I know an entrepreneur. He started doing a startup. He was from corporate. It failed. He went back to corporate, got his bearings, started again, and now it worked. So that can be your parachute. But that means, of course, that you're talented enough to you've
Work.
grown in your particular field that you can just go
That
back.
you can go just get a job anytime. Yeah. Right.
So I don't know, guys. We're reaching the end.
Okay.
Oh,
Any tips?
cool.
Anything else? Any pictures?
So if you're not too busy Saturday, please try checking us out. Startups Unplugged. We have 20 awesome startup founders. We have a small group setting, so you can really ask your questions in a very intimate setting. There's still, I think, slots in Eventbrite. So just go to onegreatleap.com and you'll find the links there. And then every month we have open coffee. It's also a great way to meet other entrepreneurs and would-be entrepreneurs, and then network with them, get ideas, and just get a feel for it. I think that's very important.
Nice.
Jay,
Um,
any last words?
Last words? No, just prepare for Startup Weekend, Manila. And maybe
Cool.
somewhere
April.
else.
April 26th.
Yeah, April 26th.
Okay, thanks again for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Peter,
Thank you
for
so much,
coming.
Frankie. That was a blast. Thank
We
you.
will be there. At least are you going?
You know what?
Oh, you have to go.
I'll try to go. But I'd like to go to one of those open coffee
Yeah.
clubs, open coffee
Open coffee.
formats. Yeah.
I really need to make that a priority because every month you invite me and because
Yeah,
it's
you
a
always,
weekend, it's always. And it's also when I joined the group, you asked me to be nice with the guys because they're all still thinking
Oh, no.
about taking the lead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I'm the guy who already looks for a product which is nearing launch.
Right.
So but thanks again to New Media Factory.
Thank
you
you,
can
New
find
Media.
at nmfnetwork.tv. Thanks to the guys at Beyond the Box for hosting us. And next time we have Jojo Flores on the show,
Oh, cool.
who's probably one of the biggest models in the local startup scene. one of the most successful
Yeah.
guys. So if you guys need models next week, first this week we had Peter, next week we have Jojo, and we have an awesome schedule for the rest of March already as well. I'm out here again. Thanks guys.
Okay, cheers.
Okay.